You will own nothing, and you will be happy. This is not a line from a dystopian novel. This is a direct quote from the World Economic Forum, one of the most powerful and influential organizations on the planet. It is the vision of the future that they are actively working to create. A future they call the Great Reset. They sell it to you with slick marketing and utopian language. They talk about stakeholder capitalism, sustainability, and building back better. But behind the buzzwords is a sinister agenda. An agenda to dismantle the free market, to erase individual liberty, and to create a global system of centralized control. A system where you are not a citizen, but a subject. Not a free individual, but a cog in their machine. What is the Great Reset? It is a plan to use the crises of our time, the pandemic, the climate crisis, the financial crisis, as an excuse to fundamentally reshape the world in their image. It is a top-down revolution, orchestrated by a global elite of billionaires, central bankers, and politicians. An elite that meets every year in the Swiss mountain resort of Davos to coordinate their plans. And what is their plan? It is a plan to merge the power of the state with the power of the corporation, to create a new form of fascism where the lines between government and business are blurred. A system where a handful of mega-corporations, in partnership with the state, control every aspect of your life. What you eat, what you wear, where you travel, what you are allowed to say. They talk about stakeholder capitalism. It sounds nice. It sounds like they care about more than just profits. But what it really means is that corporations are no longer accountable to their shareholders, but to a vague and undefined group of stakeholders. And who gets to decide who these stakeholders are and what they want? The elite, of course. The Davos crowd. It is a recipe for a corporate tyranny, where companies are free to pursue a political agenda, without any accountability to the people who own them. They talk about sustainability. But what they mean is degrowth. They mean a world of managed scarcity, a world where your energy consumption is rationed, where your travel is restricted, where your food choices are controlled, a world where you are forced to live in a state of permanent austerity, while they fly around in their private jets and feast on steak. And they talk about building back better. But what they mean is building a new system of surveillance and control, a system of digital IDs, of social credit scores, of central bank digital currencies, a system where every transaction you make, every move you make, every word you say is monitored and tracked and scored, a system where you can be deplatformed, debanked and depersoned if you step out of line. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is their plan. They have written about it in their books. They have talked about it in their conferences. They are implementing it through their network of young global leaders, politicians like Justin Trudeau and Emmanuel Macron, who have been trained and indoctrinated by the World Economic Forum. And the financial crisis is a key part of their plan. They know that the current system is unsustainable. They know that it is headed for a collapse, and they plan to use that collapse as the catalyst for their Great Reset. They will say, the free market has failed. Capitalism is broken. We need a new system. And they will present their pre-packaged solution, a solution that promises safety and security in exchange for your freedom. It is the oldest trick in the book. Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem. They wait for the reaction, and then they offer the solution. We must not fall for it. We must not allow them to use this crisis to enslave us. We must expose the Great Reset for what it is, a plan for a global dictatorship, a plan to create a world where you will own nothing and they will own everything, a world where you will be happy because you will have no other choice. This is the fight of our lives, the fight for our freedom, the fight for our humanity, the fight against the Great Reset. And it is a fight that we must win. Let's be clear about who these people are. They are not evil villains in a James Bond movie. They are worse. They are true believers. They are ideologues who are convinced that they are smarter than you, that they know what is best for you, and that they have the right to remake the world in their own image. They are the heirs of the 20th century totalitarians, the communists and the fascists, who believed that the individual was nothing and the state was everything. The only difference is that their tools are more sophisticated. They do not need gulags and concentration camps. They have technology. They have data. They have the power to control you from the inside out. And their vision is not just a fantasy. It is being implemented right now, piece by piece. The push for digital vaccine passports during the pandemic was a trial run, a way to get the population accustomed to the idea of a digital ID that would be required to participate in society. The war on cash, the push to move everything to digital payments, is another piece of the puzzle. It is a way to eliminate the last vestiges of financial privacy and anonymity. And the environmental, social, and governance movement is a way to force corporations to comply with their agenda. It is a social credit system for companies. If you do not have a high enough ESG score, you will be cut off from capital, you will be driven out of business. This is a multi-front war. It is being fought in the media, in the universities, in the boardrooms, and in the halls of government. And for a long time they have been winning. They have been winning because they have been operating in the shadows. They have been winning because they have been using language that is designed to deceive. They have been winning because most people have not been paying attention. But that is starting to change. People are waking up. They are starting to see the Great Reset for what it is. They are starting to connect the dots. They are starting to fight back. The trucker convoy in Canada, the farmer protests in the Netherlands, the growing movement for food freedom, for medical freedom, for financial freedom. These are the green shoots of a global resistance, a resistance to the Great Reset, a resistance to the New World Order. This is not a battle between the left and the right. It is a battle between the top and the bottom, between the globalist elite and the free people of the world. It is a battle that will define the future of humanity. Will we live in a world of centralized control, of surveillance, of serfdom? Or will we live in a world of decentralized freedom, of privacy, of sovereignty? The choice is ours, but we must choose now. We must educate ourselves. We must speak out. We must build parallel institutions, parallel economies, parallel societies. We must create a world that is so free and so prosperous that the world of the Great Reset becomes an irrelevant and pathetic dystopia. We must build the Ark, and we must invite as many people as possible to get on board. The Great Reset is not a foregone conclusion. It is a proposal, and we have the right to refuse it. We have the right to choose a different future, a future of freedom, a future of humanity, a future of our own making. Let's examine the philosophical roots of this ideology. It is a form of neo-Malthusianism, the belief that there are too many people on the planet, consuming too many resources, the belief that humanity is a cancer on the earth. This is a dark and misanthropic worldview. It is a worldview that sees human beings not as a source of creativity and progress, but as a problem to be managed. And the managers, of course, are the elite themselves. They are the ones who will decide who gets to have children, who gets to travel, who gets to eat meat. It is also a form of technocracy, the belief that society is a complex machine that can be optimized and controlled by a class of experts. The belief that the messy and unpredictable process of democracy can be replaced by the cold and rational logic of algorithms. It is a vision of a world without politics, without debate, without dissent, a world where all the important decisions are made by a handful of unelected and unaccountable technocrats, a world that is run like a giant corporation, with the elite as the board of directors and the rest of us as the employees. This is a profoundly anti-human vision. It is a vision that denies the very essence of what it means to be human, the freedom to choose, the right to make mistakes, the capacity for love, for art, for spirituality. These are the things that cannot be measured, that cannot be optimized, that cannot be controlled. And so in the world of the Great Reset, they must be eliminated. And how do they plan to do this? Through the fusion of technology and biology, through the creation of a transhumanist future, a future where human beings are merged with machines, a future where our thoughts and our emotions can be monitored and manipulated, a future where we are no longer sovereign individuals, but nodes in a global network. This is not science fiction. This is the stated goal of some of the most powerful people in the world. People like Yuval Noah Harari, the court philosopher of the World Economic Forum, who has openly talked about hacking human beings. This is the final frontier of their quest for control. The control of the human mind itself, the creation of a new kind of human being. A human being that is docile, that is compliant, that is happy to own nothing and to be a slave. We are at a crossroads in human history, a moment of great peril and great opportunity. The path of the Great Reset is the path to a digital dictatorship, a global surveillance state, a transhumanist nightmare. It is the path to the end of humanity as we know it, but there is another path, the path of human freedom, the path of decentralization, the path of individual sovereignty, the path of sound money, the path of spiritual renewal. This is the path that we must choose. This is the path that we must build. It will not be easy. The forces arrayed against us are powerful. They have the money, they have the institutions, they have the technology. But we have something that they do not have. We have the truth. We have the human spirit. And we have each other. This is the Great Awakening, the moment when humanity wakes up from the long slumber of deception and dependence, the moment when we reclaim our power, the moment when we say, no more to their lies, no more to their control, no more to their dystopian vision of the future. We are not cogs in their machine. We are not data points in their algorithm. We are free and sovereign human beings, and we will not be reset.